Hello students, in today's video we will complete the chapter A Visit to Cambridge by Firdaus Khan. In the first part we came to know that narrator was very happy to meet scientist Stephen Hawking, but he was not feeling well every time asking questions to him because he gives logic for this that every time he asked question for narrator a scientist and he would force him to answer, and it gave him not a pleasure. But still, he was so excited to ask him many questions, and they had exchange of words. Secondly, he says that the machine, the synthesizer, was not able to convey the exact strength and enthusiasm and vibrant thinking of narrator in this way. It was failure, but still he was very happy to have that short interview with Stephen Hawking. So we'll continue its second part today. Now, so we'll start it from here. Then you see the head twisted sideways into a slump. The narrator says that his head is twisted to some sideways, and the torso shrunk inside the pale blue shirt. The torso means the upper part of the fellow. The upper part of his body means Stephen Hawking's body was inside a shirt, and the wasted legs. You look at his eyes which can speak, and he says that his body was motionless but still his eyes can speak. You can see that vibrant, brilliant, and that budding kind of thoughts in his through his eyes again, that enthusiasm. And he says still, and they were means his eyes were something, saying something that was very huge and very urgent, and it is hard to tell what. Narrator says that he cannot even express his power of imagination. But you are shaken because you have seen something you never thought could be seen. But he says that he was very excited, very happy to meet such a fellow because he must have never thought to meet such a personality in his life. So he says that you see something being possible that you never have imagined. Before you, like a lantern whose walls are worn so thin your glimpses only the light inside. So he says that means the lantern is actually, or the walls are being described the body of Stephen Hawking. He says that Stephen Hawking's body is like a lantern that spread light, and from his thin and weak body you can see the inner glow of his body, the body almost irrelevant. And he says the way his thoughts were, the way his enthusiasm was, the body was irrelevant for him, but still his existence was of very core value. He next says, no believer in eternal souls. So he says that though I was not a believer of eternal souls, but I could know that this is what each of us is. He realized that in each of us there is an eternal soul and one must realize its worth, everything else and necessary. So he says that the inner soul is of very necessary value that he would not realize earlier. What do you think is the best thing about being disabled? So he says that he asked a question to him earlier also, and perhaps narrator said, I don't think there is anything good about being disabled. Narrator's answer was that he would not feel it anything very extraordinary to be or anything special to be in disabled. But narrator says that he thinks his answer would be that you can find or you can know or you can learn when you are disabled that how many people really are with you and how much kindness is left in the world in true sense. Because when you are well to do, everybody would be ready to help you, but when you are in true need, that time only you can judge or you can check that how many people stand by you. Yes, he said. It was a disadvantage, and he says that finally narrator also agreed with him, and he said, yes, you can discover how much kindness is there in the world. This is the only benefit of being disabled. And narrator next says that he said yes, but his the machine that would speak for him or this was the disadvantages of the synthesizer, that it could not convey his answer in the same degree of enthusiasm. He says that the machine could not convey inflection or no shades or in not actual tone. Inflection, the rise and fall of the voice. Means simply he says that the machine was totally failed to express his agreeing with author in the same enthusiastic manner. You could not feel the enthusiasm, actual enthusiasm, the genuine enthusiasm by his answers. Every time I shifted in my chair or turned my wrist towards the time, I wanted to make every one of our 30 minutes count. I felt a huge relief and exhilaration in the possibilities of my body. And narrator says that after meeting with him, he could he was anxious to use every minute while having a talk with him, and he says that he had a great relief when he felt and the possibilities in my body, his body. Means a disabled person can achieve what not, like in front of him Stephen Hawkins has achieved everything, though his body was quite irrelevant for him, as he said earlier. How little it matters then what I would never walk or even stand. A narrator says himself that he realized one thing, that how little it really matters that if you are not able to walk or not able to stand. What matters? The thing that matters a lot is your attitude, your thinking, your efforts, because he could say this by knowing about the mind and the brilliancy of his means Stephen Hawking's budding thoughts, immense thought he had, and what he did, everyone knows it. Now narrator says that he told him how he had been an inspiration beyond cliche for me. Means he says that he had been an inspiration for him beyond saying this phrase every time that generally people say that, like disciple are, inspiration for me, and it loses its value because it is spoken many times. So he says again, he said it beyond this all, and surely for others. Miss Stephen Hawkins was inspiration for him, surely for others. Did that thought help him? And he says that when people call you inspiration for others, did this thought help him, means feeling good to that Stephen Hawkins? He said no. He said, and I thought how foolish I was to ask. And narrator says that he was really foolish to ask such question, because uh, when your body is a catastrophic room and the walls are glowing narrower day by day, it doesn't do much good to know that there are people outside smiling with admiration to see your breathing. Still, it the meaning of this complete phrase is, this complete paragraph is, narrator says that I was really foolish to ask such question, because when your body is catastrophic claustrophobic room, means when your body is now, you are getting old or you are going to die very soon. Because you everyone know that the people who are such kind of disabled, their expectancy, life expectancies means small, less. So means your body is going to be very small and suffocating, and there's a fear of being in an enclosed sphere. So the such person who may be inspiration for others, but the walls actually means the life. Your body is growing, deteriorating day by day. Health is deteriorating day by day. And when people come and give you a smile and simply appreciate you, that you are, inspiration for others, they admire you for this way, it hardly matters. And when people come nearby you and they only smile because they see you breathing, still you are still alive, and they appreciate you for this only, that you are still alive. So he says that there is no point in being happy or feeling high about this. Now narrator put his another question. He made a best use of his 30 minutes, and he says that he asked another question, and the question was, is there any advice you can give disabled people? So means he asked him that if he would like to give any idea or any advice to disabled people like him or like narrator. So, what was his answer? They should concentrate on what they are good at. His answer was they should only concentrate on what they are good at. And narrator says, the Stephen Hawking said that he thinks that things like the Disable Olympics are a waste of time. Disable Olympics here means that when he see people be a part of race and they do hard work for what actually they have not interest, and such kind of things means you should only pursue your choice or where you are good. So he says that there is no point and he does not like or appreciate the things like Disable Olympics, and he calls them simply waste of time. I know what you mean. I remember the years. Now narrator added one point to support Stephen Hawking's statement, and he says, yes, I know what you mean. Means he got his meaning that he was in not favor of kind of Disable Olympics or kind of any other activities which propel any disabled to work harder, but that is not a matter of their interest. So, to support this statement, narrator shared one view with us and with Stephen Hawking that he remembered the years when he would spend trying to play a Spanish guitar considerably larger than he was. And now he says that how happily he had one day unstringed it one night. Means he just made it out of order, and then he don't have to follow that and he don't have to practice that. He doesn't have. Sorry. So the half an hour was up. Now narrator says that he almost his half an hour was complete, and it was a time to departure. And he says that I think I have annoyed you enough. And he said to narrator that he annoyed him much, means he bothered him, because why bothered him? Every time when Stephen had to speak, he had to tap some some keys on the board, and it would force him to answer for his each and every question. So, likewise, seeing the poor condition of the great scientist, Firdaus felt even great relief, and he could realize one thing, that even such a person who could not walk and stand spoke with this enthusiasm. So, he also agreed with him in answering his one question that yes, there is no point in disabled people's Olympic and they should not be a part of rat race. They should do only what they are good in. So narrator now says that, and the answer from his side was when he wanted to say thank you for your time. So the question and statement from Stephen Hawking was stay. I waited, and he offered him for tea. I can show you the garden, and he said that Stephen Hawking could show him his garden. So it was a bonus for him. He was given some extra time. He got some extra time to spend with Stephen Hawking. The garden was as big as a park, but Stephen Hawking covered very inch, rumbling along in his motorized vehicle while he says that I dozed to keep out of the way. Means he simply wanted to say he dozed to keep out of the way, means he avoided to remain more time with him, because every time he's being with him will actually bother him. So he dozed to keep out of the way means he avoided to remain or continue with more. Now he says, we couldn't talk much. The sun made him silent, and the letters on his screen disappearing in the glare now. Means gradually he maybe not feeling to speak, and he says that we couldn't talk very much. He means he with narrator could not talk much. So an hour later, narrator says that he and his companion they were ready to leave, and he says that he didn't know what to do, means how to thank him even. Fine, as Hawkins made Firdaus spent 1 hour instead of half an hour. As I told, he offered him tea and offered him to see his garden. So he says that he went about in his motorized wheelchair, and then the time came to depart. Firdaus got off to take leave of him, but he says that I could not kiss him or cry, that he could neither kiss because his body was so weak, so fragile, you know that, and he himself was on his chair, but he feel like kissing or crying to see out of happiness such a great person. But he says that he could not do either of them, either of these two, and he says, but he was highly satisfied and convinced that the paralytic scientist was really not less than a symbol of bravery from him. He says, watching him, an embodiment means epitome. It's a kind of structure of, he says that his bravest self. The one he says that he was moving towards, and the one I had believed in so for so many years alone. And he says that he knew that his journey was over for the time being his journey was over. But he says that he was highly satisfied after this meeting with this person, that is Stephen Hawkins, and he realized that the paralytic scientist was epitome or embodiment of someone like the bravest soul. So this way the chapter ends, and he shared his experience with us. He was very convinced to meet with a disabled scientist, and who was none other than kind of symbol of bravery for him. So this was a wonderful meeting, and he got the answers of all his such questions which were very he was very anxious about knowing. Like a wonderful question is, it seems to me that when he asked the question that what is your message for disabled people, so Stephen Hawking said that they should do whatever, or they should only concentrate on what they are good at. There is no point in simply copying to the normal people. So there, disable Olympics, he simply means that when you are in a rat race with normal people, it's of no use. With your whatever body you had, whatever mental setup you have, you whatever you can do the best in that, you should do and focus that only. And there are certain other questions like he asks, is there anything good you feel about being disabled? His answer was no. So such kind of wonderful questions, those questions which would pop up in his heart and mind every time he got answers for them. So I hope you must have enjoyed reading and understanding this chapter. We will be doing question answers of this chapter. So please stay connected and keep leading, keep learning. Thank you for joining and watching. Thank you.